Um, hello, and welcome back to the Intelligence Mod Pod. As always, I am Bobby, and today I have Dane with me.
Hello, hello.
Now, today I brought Dane because we are going to be talking about fighters. And this might come as a big shock to everyone, but I don't play fighters. I am not a melee character. I am magic every day, all day. So I needed to bring the expertise of someone who actually plays fighters with me to talk about some of these things, because I have a theoretical knowledge of them, but not an actual practical application knowledge of how it works. So as always, we are gonna start off with kind of an overview of what we think, going into this before we really sit down and read the rules of how do you think the fighter stands up to other classes? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is it your favorite? With that, what do you think? How are you feeling about fighters?
I love fighters. Fighters are so much fun. Whenever you are in doubt of what class to play, a fighter is always a welcome addition to any party. Of course, they have their limitations, as does every class, and probably the biggest one that we'll talk about many, many times is our lack of magic.
Mm-hmm.
But when you need the damage pumped out, the fighter is who you rely on. So
Absolutely.
they are fantastic and they are tons of fun. Tons of fun.
See, I don't think I've ever played in a campaign that didn't have a fighter. So it's like I've never had to deal with the vacuum of not having one. I've always had that, pocket fighter ready to do anything and everything in the middle of a fight. I would like to go on record and say I love the fighter class, not for myself. It's not really my play style, but I love having them. I think next to a paladin, a fighter is the class that I feel like is the most versatile in terms of the martial classes. It can do pretty much anything in a fight. I mean, they are aptly named because fighter is exactly what you do. If you're trying to make a face character, this might not be it. But if you're looking to just fight, this is 100% it. Because they can do anything. Their role in the party, you're going to be great DPS, be it with a bow, be it, with a sword and board, two-handed swords, whatever. You can tank really well because you're going to be pumping that AC really high. If it fights, you can do it, as long as it's not magical. And even then, we have subclasses for that. We can still do a little bit, but we'll talk about that
Yeah.
later. I think I do want to go on record saying, though, I feel like a lot of the fighter's strength is its base class. I think the subclasses are great, and I think they give like a lot more niche, like more narrow aspect of what you want to do. But the base fighter, I feel like if you never took a subclass, would be just as strong as a lot of the other classes in the game.
Yeah, and I think the core of that, not only some of its features, but the fact that you get such a plethora of your ASI or feat choices
Mm-hmm.
from this class's kind of general structure. You can customize it however you want. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it.
The fighter is definitely the Jeep of D&D classes because it really is the most customizable. You can mix and match. You can put, I mean, realistically, if you were hellbent on playing a face, you're going to get enough feats that you could,
Yeah.
realistically. Is it going to be the best? Probably not. But is it going to still be strong enough to service? Yes, it is. Um, so right off the bat, you are going to be starting with a D10 hit die, which is very good. This isn't nearly as nice as the barbarians. They get that extra 2 points with their D12, but a D10 is still highly respectable. At level 1, you're going to be getting your D10 plus your con mod. After that, you're going to get the 1D10 plus con mod, or you can take the average of 6 plus your con mod. Are you an average or roll guy? I feel like I asked you last time, but I have the memory
Yeah.
of a goldfish, so I don't remember what you said.
Always average for health.
Yes.
So even more so in terms of martial characters is
Mm-hmm.
where I would 100% take the the average.
Yeah. So last week I talked with Melanie, And I was absolutely shocked to hear that she is a high risk, high reward risk taker, especially with health. She,
Yeah.
except for in ours, has exclusively been a health roller. And that shocks me
Yeah.
about her.
I was listening into that one. I was quite shocked. I was like, Melody is gambler over here.
Cause like, and it's like I see it now that she says it, but beforehand I was like, she's kind of a control. Like she likes the control of the situation, and that's why I like the average because I know what it's gonna be. You know, I like the
Yeah.
control. But no, she's like, no, give me the risk, and I'm like, nope, not me. I don't want it.
I really do think for season 2 of Dion Rising, whatever we end up calling it, I think we should all just roll everything. Just mad chaos of rolls for stats, roll for HP.
You know, honestly, the character I'm thinking about playing, I might actually be okay with it because I would be totally fine with this character being super weak.
Yeah.
So it's a choice. I mean, I have two that I say it all the time. Whenever I'm conceptualizing characters, I always have like 2 to 3 that are actively battling in my mind at all times. Um, and that's how it is. I've got 2 right now that are just absolutely crushing it in my brain. Who's gonna win? I don't know. Neither
They're
one of
just
them is a
waiting.
fighter though.
They're just waiting for their chance
They
to
really
come
are.
out.
When it comes to proficiencies, the fighters also get a whole lot of great shit. All weapons, all armor, all the shields, but none of the tools. You are not getting tool proficiencies because those are generally going to be in your background. I know if you're like a rogue, you're going to get thieves' tools and shit. I think that's the only time you're getting tools for just class. But saving throws, we're getting strength and con. I think that is a absolutely fantastic saving throw choice because as a fighter, that's what you're going to be dealing with probably the most.
Yep, I agree.
I think if I'm being honest, if we were allowed to tweak these saving throws, I think the only change I would make, because for me, if I were playing a fighter or if I was making like a perfect fighter to journey with me, I would want a tank. So I'd probably change the strength to wisdom, but that's probably the only choice or change that I would make to them.
Yeah, it would be cool if you like were given the option of like switching one of the proficient like with another one like with a set
Yeah.
one. Like I would say like it
Give
might
us
just be a
like
little bit too strong, but like I would think like a dexterity or and constitution could make sense for a fighter
oh,
as well.
absolutely. That's actually probably a better choice than the wisdom that I threw out.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think it's like, is there any subclass that has like dexterity and wisdom? Because that would just be broken if that is the case.
I don't think there is. But again, I am mortal and my brain does not hold everything. There could be. I feel like somewhere out there might be a way to maybe not get. I mean, you could always take. There's feats, and as a fighter, we're getting tons of feats. There are feats that give you extra saving throw proficiency, so you could get that and
True.
take
Very true.
and get the dex and the wisdom. You could literally be proficient in all saving throws. And
Yeah,
it really not affect your build very much.
it's true. You're gonna hear ASI or feet quite a lot
So
in this
much.
video.
So skill-wise, they're also getting a very nice set of skills. You're going to pick 2 of acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, persuasion, perception, or survival. I don't dislike any of those choices personally.
No,
I
pretty
think
much exactly, the core skills that you would
Mhm.
want to pick from usually.
I think the only 2 that aren't absolutely like super powerful would be animal handling and history. But I mean, animal handling is one of those ones that like when you have it, it just makes everything better.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be a fighter who's on a horse, I think it's really important to throw that out there. If you are looking to be a horse-mounted knight or whatnot, you're gonna want the animal handling. So I think that's probably why that's there specifically. So all of those things you're going to be getting in the same exact, like 2024, 2014, whatever. Those do not change for you. But we are going to go ahead and get to the 2014 fighter. So with this, if you are still using the old rules, this is going to be for you. If not, if you have no interest in this, I should have the time stamps at the bottom. Just skip on over to 2024 and we will see you there. But 2014, I would imagine you have a lot of experience playing the 2014 fighter, yes?
Yep, I would say so.
Excellent. So when you start off, we're going to get lots of choices right off the bat. We get 4 choices that we get to make. A chain shirt or leather armor, bow, and 20 arrows. A martial weapon and a shield or 2 martial weapons. A light crossbow and 20 bolts or 2 hand axes. And our final choice is a Dungeoneering's pack or an Explorer's pack. Again, I think this is really great because it's really versatile in what all you're getting. You have, your tanky knight, and you have more of like a ranger. I don't want to say the word ranger because you're not a ranger. An archer is the word I want to say. Yeah. So depending on what kind of playstyle you're looking for, you're getting set up very nicely with the 14 fighter.
Yeah, like you said, it's very customizable. You're going to be choosing probably between strength-based or dexterity-based fighter. So your options are whatever weapon you want, you get it right off the start. Great axe, crossbows, whatever.
Yeah, and it's just really nice. It's a good feeling when the game sets you up for success. It doesn't feel like, I feel like with Barbarian, if you are wanting to play a more dex-based Barbarian, which I have seen, sorry about it. Your starting equipment's not going to help you. But with this, you really get the great choice. And I really want to talk about how fighter, when it comes to being an archer specifically, if you are looking for a great archer, like you want a Lord of the Rings Legolas, like that's what you're looking for a fighter. I know when you're first starting, you might be tempted by Ranger because it looks like the archer. But let me tell you, if you are wanting to play a archer, this is what you want.
Like I feel like you would categorize it as like like battle archer, right? Like you are, like you said, Legolas in the fight versus like Aragorn on the road.
Well, I mean,
right?
Even in the fight, I would say so. Because if you look at the archery style between Legolas and Aragorn, obviously one of them is significantly better than the other. That's not saying one is bad. It's just one is significantly better. When it comes to Ranger, I always classify them, and I know me and Royal, when we record, are going to get into it about this. I always classify Ranger as a support class. Because realistically, you're there for exploration, and you're there to make everyone else better at what they do, is what the Ranger does. This, you're just there to lob arrows and hurt people. You're there for the damage.
I know I was when I played my fighter. My crossbow-wielding fighter.
So, moving into our first level, after we make our choice on if we want to be dex-based or strength-based, get all of our equipment, we're going to get a lovely helping of fighting style. Now, when it comes to these fighting styles, you get everything, except for Druidic Warrior and, what's the Paladin one?
Blessed
Warrior. Those are the only 2 you can't pick from. But pretty much everything else is up for grabs. So that's going to be everything from archery, defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, protection, two weapon fighting. If you go ahead and splurge and get yourself Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, you can also have access to blind fighting, interception, superior technique, throwing weapons, and unarmed fighting. I would love to see a fighter that's whole gimmick is just throwing weapons.
You could do it. It would look super cool. And once again, you could go strength with hand axes or like throwing daggers, whatever you decide.
Yeah. And I also would love to see a competition between an unarmed fighting fighter versus a monk, just to see who does it better. I want to know. I would honestly think I'm going to give the edge to the fighter because when it comes to fighting, they do pretty much everything better. But I don't know.
If you're talking like everyone's fresh from a long rest and you're only talking like one round of something, I suppose it depends on what level they're at. But because of action surge, usually the fighter will take the reins there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the fighter would clock the shit out of a monk. I mean, but you also have to remember, this is going to be the difference in, you look at Zada, who's, running 200 feet every turn
Yeah.
versus the fighter who's running their 35 just hoping they can catch them.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so I mean, there's pros and cons to both, but when it comes to combat, you really can do it all with the fighter, and there's fighting styles. With the new 2024 rules, I know I don't like to talk about the 2024 during 14's talk, but they did reclassify all of these as fighting style features, right? So they're pretty much the same as feat now. So we are going to go more in depth on all of these when we start going over feats. But I mean, I think we can go over a couple of the really, really good ones. That would be like your top two. So off the top of my head, if you're wanting to do that archery like we were talking about, archery is great because you're going to get a bonus 2 to your attack rolls when you use a ranged weapon. The second one for me that I really, really like, if you have access to Tasha's, would be interception. And what this does is if an ally is getting hit within 5 feet of you, you can reduce the damage by 1d10 plus your proficiency bonus. But you have to have a shield when doing so. I like that because, again, I'm a support, and anytime I can reduce damage on people, that's what I'm going to do.
Yep. That's always a good one. I mean, archery is, once again, if you're taking an archer, any kind of long range, archery is, it's got to be your go-to. Like, the consistency of being able to hit is king with the fighter because guess what? That's all you're really there for. So you want to make sure you're hitting stuff. We've talked about this for Paladin. Like, defense is great, obviously. Extra 1 AC is great. Your protection is another good one. I know I say that for you and your love of support.
Mm-hmm.
The Tasha Superior Technique one is quite flavorful. When we get into the subclasses conversation later on in another video, I will have nothing but good things to say about Battlemaster and getting an extra maneuver. And I think you get a little extra superiority die.
Yeah,
just icing on the cake, which is quite nice.
I mean, I will tell you that I have played characters that weren't fighters, and I've taken the superior technique as a feat, because the Battlemaster features are just so good. I mean, there's no one that can't use at least one of them. They're so good. I also cannot wait to talk about Battlemaster with you because I feel like Battlemaster, in the grand scheme of things, when I look at every single subclass in the game, I feel like Battlemaster is the golden child. Like, you cannot go wrong with Battlemaster. There's no flaws in it. There's nothing bad about it.
It is the plain cheese pizza that of D&D classes, mainly and I only say that because it's like universal.
I would say it's the slightly spiced up pepperoni pizza because I think the plain cheese would go to champion because it doesn't get anything. It's just so plain.
They're bread with the tomato sauce on it, no cheese.
So we're gonna go ahead and grab one fighting style, and then on top of that, at level 1, we're getting Second Wind. This is probably another one of my absolute favorite features in the game. With this, on your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter's level. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. I mean, what's not to love? We love free healing. I mean, it's not really free, but it is. It's not costing your healer a spell slot.
Yep.
What's not to love?
It's a nice short rest. Boom. There you go. Ready to use it again.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think, again, with the fighter, there's not really a whole lot that we can say bad about it because I don't think there is anything bad about it.
It's everything you want in a damage dealer right at level 1.
Yeah, I will say if you're wanting super exciting, this might not be the one for you because I feel like it is very basic, but the foundation is so sturdy that nothing's knocking this house over.
And I do feel like it just gives you so many options for roleplay as well, how you want to build your character and build the story. Like comparatively to like Barbarian as an example, sometimes people pigeonhole themselves into certain way of a barbarian might
Mm-hmm.
be. Where for a fighter, and as you progress through the subclasses and things like that, and kind of really pick your niche, you can really just explore a lot of cool options for the fighter.
Yeah, and that's something that like I feel like with newer players that I try to fight with them to help them with is like learning how to flavor a character so it's not just barbarian rage, fighter fight like, and that's something fighter does very well is that all of their subclasses come packed with such a like specific flavor. Uh and I can't think of a single like fighter that I would want to play that there's not a subclass for.
Yeah, and like for my fighter, that it was the only time I ever completed a campaign. Went from level 1 to I think 11 or 12,
Mhm.
and he was essentially, because he was a dex based. He was a goblin as well, so he also acted as like the de facto rogue as well for the
Yeah.
party with high dex abilities. He had sleight of hand for lockpicking, things like that.
Mhm.
And if we needed something shot, that was his job. But if he also needed to break in somewhere, that was also his job.
Yeah, yeah, fighters are just I feel like the argument for the most versatile class, it would be between paladin, druid, and fighter. But I think if you're going for a non-magical character, obviously fighter is going to be the most versatile that you're getting. They can literally do so much. And
Yep.
like even just as a level 2 character, you're so powerful.
And why is
Um
that? Because of what you get at level 2, action surge.
so
uh,
I have a lot to say about the 2024 version of this, but the 2014 version of this is so broken. It's
Very
so
broken.
busted. I've seen wizards literally taking a 13 in strength just so that they can cross class to get the action surge. Because what this does is you can push yourself beyond your normal limits and on your turn make one additional action. Ooh, okay, so what that does for us at level 2, essentially one turn per fight, or not per fight, but per what is it, long rest, short or long rest, we get multi
Yep.
attack or extra attack already at level 2.
For just one
For one
round.
round, we are getting to attack twice. We are getting to do two different things. It's limitless. Let's say you are sprinting after someone, you can take the dash action. Then, if you absolutely have to, you can action search and dash again.
Yeah.
Again, it's
Picture I picture, like, that one scene in Infinity War where Captain America and Black Panther are like running in front of the armies, like towards the other people.
oh
They're
yeah,
just like the two of them are just sprinting in front of everyone else. That's what I imagine for Action Surge.
yeah. That's monks, rogues, and fighters sprinting ahead of everyone else as they're trying to catch up. Um, Action Surge is so good, and on a short rest, you can get it back, which is
Yeah.
so crazy to me.
Yeah, and the 2014 rules did not limit your ability to cast multiple
No.
leveled spells either. So you could cast 2 fireball spells if you
Yeah.
really wanted to, as that wizard.
Um.
You can do all sorts of things. And this was particularly a big cross classing for the paladin
Mhm.
specifically, for just smiting, just absolutely dumping every single spell slot that you have into these multiple attacks with these action surges.
Tell us about the fighter paladin cross class.
Oh, oh, I love it so much. Level 5, 4 attacks, 4
Yes.
smites.
Are you actively doing that in Dion right now?
You can't.
Excuse me.
Well, you can't. 2024 rules, right? And also, the paladin smite is a bonus action, which
Oh no, I
we
just
should
meant cross
clarify.
classing.
Oh no, I think I'm going straight paladin
Oh,
actually.
excellent. Okay. Well, too bad.
But but this is a good kind of segue for that, because with action surge, it's not that you get like everything in your turn. Like, you get your action, bonus action on your turn. You do not get an additional bonus action with the action surge.
Hmm.
You just get an additional action with it.
Yes. So with 2014, if you were with us for our Paladin episode, you know that originally in 14 they got their smite just because they didn't have to bonus action, so it was a really great thing to have. Um, yeah, and there was no limit. If you action surge, double fireball, absolutely great. I do want to point out though that the double fireball is still under DM discretion, and the reason for that is because the rules strictly say you can only cast one leveled spell per turn. The argument here is that it does say push yourself beyond your normal limits. So that's going to be up to your DM. Before you try to like pull one over on him and try to pull the action surge, wizard, double check with them to make sure it will work, because there's nothing worse than taking 2 levels of fighter as a wizard and then figuring out that it was for nothing.
Yeah. And much like any problems with or anything you're talking or thinking about in your head, always run it by your DM first.
Yeah, and don't ever feel like, oh, I have to tell my DM what my plan is. Like, if you have a DM that is worth anything, they are going to be so excited to see the crazy shenanigans that you build, the craziness that you have to derail their plot. Like, no DM is going to see you do some crazy ass shit and be like, I don't want that. No, odds are it's going to be like, I'll allow it this time, but for future reference. Because we want to see it. We want to see the crazy stuff that you come up with. It's fun. It makes it interesting.
And half the time, the DM will probably be shocked by it because they forgot you could do all that stuff. And then they're like, oh crap, they just killed my boss in one hit, in one round.
Yeah, and that's never a good feeling. But I mean, at the same time, it's also a great feeling to, especially when you're working with like newer players. That is my favorite thing, is watching them. Like, I tell my new players, I know that no one stays with the same DM forever, right? That's just a fact of life. And I tell them all on their first session ever of D&D that I am going to mold them into the biggest terror for their next DM that I possibly can. Because I want you to know all of the crazy shit you can do. I want you to know the wombo combos that you can pull. Because then you're just going to have more fun. All the other players at your table are going to have more fun, and they're going to be inspired by your craziness. An action surge is definitely the craziness that you're looking for, because it's so easy to get.
Yep, definitely. It's level 2. You just get
level
it for free.
2. You just, yeah. And if you're a wizard, you're getting 2 D10 health. Like, as a wizard, that feels good.
Yeah.
As a wizard, the wind blows wrong and you were KO'd. So this is probably a good thing for you. Not that you have to do this. We're not saying you have to as a wizard, but it is a fun little gimmick that you can do. Moving on to level 3, that is when we're starting to get into subclasses. We're going to go over each of those individually at a later time, because we really just wanted to focus on the class itself. But again, I feel like fighter subclasses overall are the strongest subclasses in the game, because they're all so specific, and they're all so, like, even in their, like, specific nature, they're so versatile within that. Like, oh, you're a samurai, you do crit damage, but that doesn't mean you're not doing literally everything else also.
Yeah. It's when we get to it, it's going to be a nice lengthy discussion about all these subclasses that are available to us.
Yeah. I'm so excited for subclasses. Once we hit level 4, though, we're getting our first ASI of like 5 billion. So with this,
I'm going to say at this point, it's going to get very repetitive.
Yes.
As to what we're going to say.
Yeah, because fighter features aren't really a whole lot, because they let you pick and choose. You literally get to pick whatever features you want instead of them telling you what you get. So again, ASIs, what that is ability score increase, so you can take 2 points and put them anywhere you want for your ability scores. That's strength, dex, con, wisdom, int, and charisma. You can put them both in the same place, split them up 1 on 2, or you can take a feature. And let me tell you, me and Melanie had a whole talk about this. I'm a feat guy.
Yep, 100%.
Are you a feat guy?
I am a feat guy. I am fill out my action economy however I can.
You know how we have like I feel like I need to start making like little enamel pins that is like I'm a feat guy, and it have like the features or something.
It's like emphasize FEAT.
FEAT, and then have like maybe like some toes popping out from the behind it. I don't know. I think that would be hilarious. If you're an art, do that and send it to me. I would love you forever.
Yeah.
So after we get that lovely choice, we're hitting level 5, which for martial classes is everything. This is barbarian, paladin, and fighters. This level is your everything. Because one, we're getting that delicious proficiency bonus, which takes you up to +3, but also we're getting extra attack.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whenever you take the attack action, you get to attack twice.
Yep. And so 2 attacks with your regular attack, action surge, 2 more.
Yeah, so at this point, you're hitting on 1 turn per combat, as long as you short rest between your combats. You are getting 4 attacks, which is, again, absolutely terrifying. Fighters are, I mean, they're scary. As a DM, I feel so bad for all of my NPC villains when I see a fighter step on the field after level 5. Because they're going to fuck it up.
And, as especially depending on like the race, like 2014, like variant human, if you were that power creeper like I would be, it's like you start off with like great weapon master or something just completely busted, or even here you take sharpshooter and -5 +10, but you already have a +2 from archery, so it's only really a -3 overall. And it just stacks up so quickly with just beautiful damage and dice rolls. It's amazing.
It's so good. And also fighters get a lovely little addition to their extra attack, which we're going to get back to on level 11. I don't think anyone else gets it. I could be wrong because I don't play martials a whole lot, but I don't. They don't.
Not wrong.
Excellent.
Yep, you are not wrong.
So moving on from level 5, we are going to be getting yet another ASI or feat. I mean, why not? It's what I want. I want to have unlimited ASIs and feats.
Yeah, fighters are probably the one class where you are very much guaranteed to probably hit a 20 in like probably two stats, depending on how the campaign is.
Yeah, because if you take the ASIs, if you we're now sitting at 4 points that we've added anywhere we wanted, and no matter what, that's gonna hit you a 20 in at least one place.
Yeah. Yep.
Level 7, we're getting a subclass feature, so we'll go over those again at a later date. And then we hit level 8. Now, this is one of the most shocking things that the fighter gets, which is another ASI or feat. Again, at this point, we're just stacking feat. For me, personally, that's what I'm doing.
You're just throwing more cherries on top of that sundae. Yeah. Just 5 cherries on top of it right now.
Yeah. I mean, feat are so strong in D&D, but so are ASIs, so don't discount them. But yeah, you really are mixing and matching. You've now got 3 feats, or, what is that, 6 points that you've thrown anywhere you want. But then that'll take us to level 9, where we're going to get a proficiency up to +4, and we're also getting another feature. So this is going to be Indomitable. So with this, you can re-roll any saving throw that you fail. If you do so, you must use the new roll, and you cannot use this feature again until you finish a long rest. Excellent.
Beautiful last-ditch effort to, pass that saving throw. Wow, who's going to be angry at that? Nobody.
Yeah, so if you're building a tank, and you've been taking nothing but, what is it? Is it durable or resilient? One of those two.
Yeah, resilient lets you pick a saving throw.
Yeah, so by this point, you should be, if you're doing that crazy nonsense, you should be proficient in all but one saving throw. And now you get advantage on the first one you fail. I mean, come on. This is great for our tank boys. Again, there's nothing wrong about it. I feel like some classes you get a feat and it's it's okay, but this is there's nothing bad about this. I mean, it just makes you, even as an archer, you don't want to be failing those checks, and now you get a way out.
Just gives you that nice little extra last ditch effort. It's basically like a new heroic inspiration for a saving throw roll, where you just get to make a totally separate roll with your D20, but you must take the new one. So
Yes.
it's already assuming that, if you fail and you roll another fail, well, okay, there you go. But there are certain ones out there that, right, if you like roll really low, like certain effects happen. Like if you roll like below like 5 under or something like that, you might get like a instant paralysis or something like that. I think there are some abilities out there that have like, if you fail by this much, something happens. I've
There
seen stuff
probably
out
are.
there.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. They're just not very common.
Yeah.
But I mean, this does set you up for, oh shit, I rolled an 8, and then you roll again and you get a nat 1, and now you gotta keep it.
Yeah. So it could be thematically more detrimental, but aside from that, usually net benefit for the most part.
Level 10, we're getting a subclass feature. Excellent. Which will then bring us to level 11. Now, this is where things get very, very spicy for the fighter, because our extra attack, now we get 2 instead of 1 extra attack. So every time you use the attack action, you're getting 3. So if you action surge that, 6. 6 attacks in 1 turn. That's outrageous.
And I'm using a great axe on each of them, so that's a D12 there. There's another D12 and another D12 and another D12.
I also want to say at this point, do you know what our wizards, bards, and sorcerers have? If I'm not mistaken.
11th level?
Yeah.
Are they like 5th level spells? Usually, right?
They should have haste by this point.
Oh, haste is 3rd level spell,
yeah.
I think. That's like level 5.
So at this point, now you're doing 9 in that 1 turn.
Yeah.
And 6 every turn after that one, because the haste is there. Oh my god. If you're a support person like myself and you see a fighter step on the field, you better have haste, because unless they're a tank, then they really don't need it as much. But if you have like that two-handed sword, Oonga Boonga, as much damage as possible, or an archer, haste them, because this is the time. If you are playing as a fighter and you have a sorcerer, bard, or wizard in your group, remind them that haste is in fact an option. Aggressively remind them if you need to.
Yeah. And this is exactly the scene of Legolas just like rapid fire bow and arrow. That is action surge and extra attack.
So I really want to plant in your mind the fact that its turn lasts 6 seconds. So if you're hasted and action surging, that means you fired 9 arrows. You had the time to pull from a quiver, fire 9 times in 6 seconds.
Yeah, you are a blur. Like, you were just fast motion. You can't even see what you're doing. You're just getting hit by attacks. You don't even know where it's coming from.
I mean, can you, imagine as a player if your DM set up, a boss fight where you're fighting a fighter and a sorcerer that are hasting the fighter, and now they're attacking you 9 times. That would be the scariest. That would be the scariest thing on the planet, to be attacked 9 times as a players.
And this is not even with any subclasses.
Yeah, this is so base, just base fighter, and we're already, ridiculously powerful.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Oh my gosh. Level 12, shockingly, we're going to get an ASI or feat of your choice, which will take us to 13th level. Proficiency is going to go to a +5, and we're also going to be getting our Indomitable. We're going to get 2 of them per long rest. So now you can fail twice and not feel as bad about it.
I think you can only, you can't double stack the rules, I don't believe.
Yes, it's only once per roll, but if you have to do multiple saving throws, you can use them. Yeah. Because it isn't a reaction, so if you fail one and then they cast a different spell on you before your turn, you can still use them per round. But yes, you are correct. You cannot use them on the same one that you just failed, because it specifically says that you must use the new roll.
Yeah.
And as we've learned, wording in D&D rules is very, very important. If you are trying to get one over on your DM, read the rules so carefully and make sure that there is no room for interpretation, because they'll get you that way. After that, we're going to go into a super juicy 3 levels, which is 14, 15, and 16. 14, we get the ASI or feat. 15, we're getting a subclass. And 16, we're getting an ASI or feat.
Why not? Just give us more. Everything's at 20 at this point.
Everything. I mean, like, a part of me is like, why? But then I remember it's because they probably were looking at fighter and they didn't know what to give it. You know, like, because it's fighters can be anything. You know, this way you really do get to pick and choose what kind of fighter you are. Which I like.
And once again, it does give you that option to not just go with combat-oriented things. Like, you could pick up just as an example, the skilled feat, where you can now get proficiency with different skills and a tool proficiency or something like that. You know, you can, there's just so much. You like, at that point, you're just like, what do I even use this for? It's like, what do I spend all this ASIs on?
Yeah, at this point, you were overloaded. And with these feats, I know earlier we had said that you can make like a face or, you know, some other kind of character if you wanted to with a bunch of feats. 2014 can't do it as good as 2024 does. We'll talk about that in a bit. But you can. By this point, we're at what? 8 ASIs or feats? Is that where, or are we at 6?
2, 4, 6,
12, 8, 12.
10, 12 at 16, like 12 points worth of ASI at 16th level.
Oh my gosh. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, come on. So yeah, fighters, if you like feat, this is for you. But
and then the 17th level proficiency bonus and another action surge.
Yeah, another. Why not? Why not?
And I don't know if we mentioned this before, but action surge does not take any action, bonus action, reaction to use. It's its own thing. You just use it whenever you want.
Which means if you're using 2 weapon fighting on top of the, what is it, 6 attacks you're getting, you can pop on a 7 just for fun.
Why not? That's what you do.
Might as well. We're also getting Indomitable 3 times per long rest.
Yeah, just keep it coming.
17th level really kicks it up a notch, and I enjoy it. Then we hit 18th with another subclass, and then 19 with, you guessed it, an ASI or feat of your choice. Level 20, though, I feel like Fighter gets the feat that really makes me, like, shit myself when I think about it coming at me, which is that their extra attack, you're attacking 4 times.
Yeah.
Who needs that many attacks?
You are just a whirlwind of blades and arrows flying out from every direction, because then you're hasted, you're action surged, you're this, you're that. You probably have a magic item that makes you haste because you're level 20.
Listen, at this point, you're hitting your 4 attacks. Then you're hasted, so you're doing it again, so you're at 8. And then you're action surging. Like, action surge, haste, multi-attack. Like, we're up to 12 attacks. And because we have 2 action surge now, we can do that 12 attack twice.
Do you want to know what your, like, to hit modifier would be if you were an archer at level 20?
I would love to know what my to hit is while I'm attacking 12 fucking times in one turn.
Like, you get you're at plus 6.
You're at least at a 20.
You're at least at a 20, so that's
5.
At least plus 5, so that's 11. If you took, like, archery,
which you should have,
that's 2. And then any kind of magic item that you might
should have a magic bow by now, at least plus 2.
Should. Yeah, so, like, it's like, how can you
what
miss?
Is that, plus 16?
Yeah,
a plus
just silly.
What god are you fighting that you need a plus 16 with 12 attacks in one turn?
And guess what? You be a battle master, and then you get the precision attack. Just add on an extra D10 probably at this point to make it just 20s. I'm always hitting a 20.
Overall, when it comes to fighting, no one can beat the fighter. I mean, there's no comparison to it. You know, when it comes to, like, exploration, there's things that do it better. Magic, obviously, make things better. So, like, me personally, I wouldn't put 2014 Fighter as, like, an S tier class, but I would easily put it in the A tier.
Yeah, and The thing about it too, though, if you compare it to other, let's just put it like right up to like
Yeah.
the Warlock as an example, right? So the way that the cantrips scale, right? There's not many. Only Eldritch Blast really has its two hit
Mm-hmm.
on individual beams, right?
Yes.
When it's a firebolt, it is just a like 3d10 as you scale it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, the warlock and the fighter kind of have those similar, like, you hit 4 times or you roll to hit 3, 4 times,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, but with the fighter, you're always applying your dexterity, strength modifier, whatever the case may be. Warlock, you might not have taken agonizing blast, so maybe you don't have the D10. But then you have all the other features that will come with your attacks based on your subclasses. So it just kind of piles it on
Mm-hmm.
a ton of times, and oh, I just love fighters so much. It's just so much
So
fun.
much.
You're
Yeah,
not magical, but you're magical in combat. Let me tell you.
yes, you are. So it's like the only reason I don't give it S is because I feel like there's only two classes in D&D that deserve that title, and that's cleric and paladin, because they literally do everything.
Yeah.
Um, and they don't just do it; they excel at it. Whereas I feel like if you want to do certain things as a fighter, you really have to work for it.
Yeah, there is that, like, very much positioning, things of that nature
Mm-hmm.
that you got to be more conscious of. I would say for Paladin too, you got to be a little bit conscious about that. But the Paladin, just any class that gets magic has a one up on marshals usually. Usually,
I mean,
but
in
and
terms of
that's in
like
the
utility, yes, but I mean a
yeah.
fighter versus a sorcerer or wizard in a 1v1 I'm at level 20. Actually, I might even give it to the depending on if it's an archer, they're gonna whoop that wizard
Oh
ass. But like if you
yeah.
got to run up to someone and you're not able to catch up to the wizard, you're gonna be in some trouble. But
Hmm.
I think a lot of like combat wise, magic users versus marshals, it really will just come down to who got the first initiative.
Yeah.
Whoever
Yeah.
gets first is gonna win.
Because let me tell you, that fighter's going to break your concentration, very likely.
Yes, and
There's 9 attacks to do it with.
yeah, once they're on top of you, it's gonna be difficult to get them off. I mean, you're gonna have Misty Step hopefully, but at the same time, what fighter, even a melee one, isn't gonna have a crossbow attached to them?
Yeah.
Or if they want to
Yep.
keep it strength based, a javelin.
Yeah. Yeah. Or then higher the levels you go, you are more than guaranteed to have some kind of magic item that does
Yes.
something or other.
Yes.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell for 2014 fighter. A
Yes,
lot
it
of
is.
ASIs, a lot of attacks. That's about it.
Yeah.
Where the 2024 has made some improvements on
Excellent.
these abilities that we already have.
Because why did we not need to just be slightly broken? We can be significantly broken.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, we are getting our choices reduced a little bit, but I do want to point out that so far in all of my episodes, this is the only class that's getting 3 choices. I held up 2 because that's what most people are getting, but 3 choices. So you're going to get chainmail, greatsword, flail, 8 javelins, and a dungeoneering's pack, and 4 gold. Or
Ooh.
you can take studded leather armor, a scimitar, a short sword, a longbow, 20 arrows, a quiver, and a dungeoneering's pack with 11 gold. Or you can take 155 gold. I like that this is still giving the option of, are you strength, are you dex? Because they still very much know that both of these are very viable options for the fighter.
Yeah. I mean, studded leather is probably some of the best, like, low, like, without any disadvantage to stealth. The only thing that's better is breastplate or the half, breastplate armor.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already starting off with something that you will probably keep with you for a long, long time.
Yeah. And then coming right in at level 1, again, we're going to get a fighting style. You get your choice of fighting style feat, which is the new wording that they have for the fighting styles. But now, whenever you gain a fighter level, you can replace this feat with a different fighting style. So that does add a little bit more versatility as you see the way that your team composition works and what will help your team the best, or just you, because we're selfish and sometimes we like to just do cool shit.
I love that you can change that, because that seems very fighter to me. Like
Yeah.
you are able to pick up something like in terms of martial prowess and be able to master it. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to go from you know, defense fighting style to that protector, because you have your more frontline people with you. Like you said, the party composition changes over time. People kind
Yeah.
of find how they like doing things, so you're able to adapt to that.
Mm-hmm. I think what I would have liked a little bit better than this, and it might be broken, but I don't give a shit. I wish you could spend an action to change your fighting style. Like, I wish instead of giving you one, they gave you like three, and you could use an action to kind of go between these three. Because, like, in the middle of a fight, you know, you could be all like, let me do my damage, great weapon fighter, and then see that you need to switch to a more defensive stance. And I feel like that is a very fighter mentality. Even if it was
Yeah,
just like start with two, or, you know, and then it grow with your proficiency bonus. I don't know. I feel like that would have been
yeah.
really cool.
I guess well, now they kind of relegate that to the features, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can take a fighting style as a feature, kind of a waste in terms of the 2024, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't get like any half point bonus. But I know in 2014 they had like the ability to, I think they had like fighting style, like you can get a feat as
Yeah.
a fighting style kind of thing. But because of how the 2024 kind of relegates the features, like fighting style features,
Mm-hmm.
they don't come with the like +1 to them.
That's true. Yeah.
So I mean that would be cool. Like, it would be super cool to be able to do something like that. But um, once again,
They were already super busted. Let's be real.
yeah. Yeah, but just being able to change it at a long rest is pretty beneficial
I feel
already.
like this feels to me a lot like with 2024, all spellcasters are now prepared casters.
Hmm.
They're not really, but that's what they're wording them as. And every class can change their spells out, or like one spell on a level up. So I feel like this was their kind of way of putting them on the same grounds as the casters, like the bards, who normally wouldn't get to change spells, but now they can.
Yeah, like I would love to have this feature on a paladin, be able to change that.
Yeah. Do we not get that? Did
Not for
paladins not get?
paladin
Oh,
though.
that's unfortunate.
You're
Um,
stuck with what you pick.
Sorry about it. Also at level 1, we're getting Second Wind again. As a bonus action, you can use it to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. Now, we did get a buff on this in that you can use this feature twice. You regain 1 expended use when you finish a short rest, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So convince your party to take 2-hour breaks, because then you can get them both back.
Hmm. Perfect.
I
Just
like that we get it
more free
twice now.
healing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they've added that in for a lot of classes. Like you get half of your stuff back on a
Yeah.
short rest, but full on a long rest.
Mm-hmm. Also, we're gonna snag the weapon mastery that 2024 introduced. With that, I believe we've already gone over it on one of our videos. When did we
Yeah.
go over all those? Was that in Paladin?
No,
Was it?
I don't think so. Was it his own thing?
It might have been its own thing. I don't know. I looked back. I thought I covered them with you. Did I not?
We might have went over them. I think we know it. I think we did go over them. Did we go over them with
I think
Paladin
we went over
or
them a little
something
bit. I
else?
think me and JP went over them extensively in our equipment episode.
Okay.
Who knows? I might feel really excited about this video, and I might put a link to it right here, but I wouldn't count on it. That's probably just going to be empty air. We'll see. We'll see how
Just go-
tech savvy I'm feeling right now.
Go look through the playlists and
Yeah, it'll
watch
be there.
watch all the other videos to find where it is.
Yes. Yeah, so we're gonna get those, and yeah, I even have it in my notes. We go more into detail in session 9.
Whichever one that is.
Reading
But,
is fundamental for everyone, and you should practice it.
Yep. But weapon mastery, just add more cherries on top of that sundae, because now every time you hit, you can just keep pushing the person farther and farther away. Just keep bashing them right off the cliff.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do.
Extra little goodies that you get. And you can also change those on a long rest. If you get one and you don't like it and you just want to switch.
And I believe you get, is it 3? Yeah, 3 weapons to pick from for this, for your weapon masteries, which most only get 2. Like classes really only get 2 weapon masteries, but fighters get 3.
Excellent.
And I think it goes up as well. Like
it
you
does.
get more.
Yes, it is going to go up. And it's in the weapon mastery column on the fighters table. I'm not sure why I didn't put that on here. I didn't put those on. But those are going to go up at 4th level, at 10th level, and at 16th level. They're going to go up to 4, 5, then 6 at level 16.
To be fair, you're probably really only going to pick maybe between 2 or 3 tops. And, kind of stick with those weapons. So
if you're running out... Yeah, if you're running onto the field with like 13 different weapons on you, you're just gonna look really
them out.
Like jingle jangle as you're running.
But you can do that now with how weapon swapping works. Like you just change out weapons every time you attack.
Yeah, at level 2, we're getting Action Surge. Now there has been a big nerf to this, and I'm not a huge fan of it. You can still push yourself beyond the normal limits for a moment. On your turn, you can take 1 additional action except the magic action. My heart hurts seeing that. And I almost feel like when they added the magic action, I feel like it was specifically so they could put it on that sentence.
Probably. I think it was just really silly sometimes, I feel. Like
the double fireball was just absolutely outrageous.
Now, that doesn't mean you can't cast fireball and then go make an attack. You can do that still.
It doesn't mean you can't cast fireball and then use a utilize action to use a magical weapon that casts fireball.
Perfect.
We can still do that.
There's ways around it.
Yeah, so find magical items to supplement the loss of the magic action, because it doesn't say the first action can't be magic. It just says that the second one can't. You can use this get this back on a short or long rest. So just like before. Again, excellent. Action Surge will always be, even with that magic action exception, it will always be one of the strongest features in the game, and fighters get it at level 2.
Yep. Still absolutely amazing. Still absolutely amazing.
And now, have you read in at all with Tactical Mind, the new ability?
I know that you can use your second wind rolls for it, right? Like
yes.
I do know that.
Yeah. So with Tactical Mind, you can, if you fail an ability check, you can use one of your D10s from Second Wind to add to that roll. So this right here is going to immediately, earlier when we were talking about, like I want to be a face character, or I want to be something other than like fighting, I just want to use the fighter, leveling chart. This is where that's really going to kick it up, because essentially you're able to Bardic Inspiration yourself, but unlike Bardic, if the check still fails, the use of Second Wind isn't expended.
That's huge. This is level 2.
Level 2.
A D10 at level 2. A Bardic Inspiration at this level is a D6.
Correct. You are self-barding better than a bard at this point. I mean, you get less uses of it.
And it's only for ability checks, right? Like the Indomitable feature is for saving throws, and this is for it's the classic Guidance versus Bless. Guidance is for abilities, Bless is for saving throws
and attack rolls.
Yeah.
This is for ability checks. If someone in your group has guidance, slap it on top of it. Might as well. But yeah, this is... Bards aren't getting to do a D10 until level, I think it's 11.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's level 10. I just looked it up.
That's still a long ways into a game. But this is more than likely why they gave you the 2 uses of the second wind.
Yes.
So, and basically you always have the ability to use this free of charge unless it is successful. If it's successful, you use it. But if
Yeah.
you fail, you still don't lose that, and you can use it to heal yourself later on.
Yeah, so if you're doing like a skill monkey kind of build, I think this is absolutely huge because you're going to be getting so many feats to get extra skills, expertise, other little knickknacks to kind of make yourself this, well-rounded skill monkey. And so like when it comes to the party roles that we talked about, for 2024 alone, I would put skill monkey in there very easily because you could pick so many different skills and just really be a powerhouse outside of combat and inside of combat.
And I feel like if you went like fighter and like bard,
Mm-hmm.
and you get like jack of all trades to give you like half
Shit.
proficiency on everything, or even just like the expertise of like rogues or something
Yeah.
like that, just to once again battle like a rogue and fighter can jive really well together as a dexterity based class. So like you can be ultimate skill monkey as a fighter, which is fantastic.
You really can. And also, if you're playing like a super high level campaign, bear with me, right? We're talking like level 15 campaign, like you're starting at level 15 or something, and maybe it's a one shot, you want to be a skill monkey. Level 7 in Rogue to get reliable talent. And then you smack this on top of it.
Never failing anything ever.
Never. You just can't fail. You're just so good at everything. Everyone, doctors hate him, dermatologists hate him, everyone hates him because he just doesn't fail. Level 3, we're getting subclass features, followed by the level 4 ASI or feat choice. Again, with 2024, we are going to see the same reoccurring theme where they just didn't know what features to give them, so they let you pick whatever you wanted instead.
Yeah, and keep in mind, 2024 rules with the feats is you get a +1 ASI with all of the feats mostly. So as long as it's an origin feat or a fighting style feature, you're getting a +1 to something. So great weapon master, crossbow expert, whatever the case may be, you get a +1 to something. So your ASIs are always coming up. And then at 5th level, of course, extra attack. Gotta love it. But then you also get tactical shift, an extra little bonus cherry on top of those mountains of cherries that are on the fighter class Sunday. So whenever you activate your second wind with a bonus action, you can move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So just a lovely, lovely way to heal and get out of dodge.
Or heal and chase a motherfucker down.
That too.
To me, the new fighter feels a lot like everything combat-wise other people are doing. They're kind of dipping their hands in and taking it for themselves. This feels a lot like a mixture of like a barbarian and a rogue feature, where as a bonus action they can take the disengage action.
Yeah.
Which I like. I think the fighters should be the best at fighting because it's literally their name. That's all they're good for, unless you take weird features, which I recommend. But
it's all about the subclass.
Yeah.
Once again, this is just the base. Every fighter gets this.
It's so crazy to me that we could compare a base fighter with like a fully built, maximized, optimized ranger, and that ranger's getting stomped.
Yeah. Poor rangers.
Poor rangers. Level 6 through 8, we're doing ASI subclass ASI again. This is a combo we really like. 3 levels of getting little cherries, little fun things, but nothing super major. Unless, of course, your subclass is giving you something super major, which some of them do, some of them don't. But that does take us to level 9, which we get Tactical Master. When you attack with a weapon whose mastery property you can use, you can replace that property with push, sap, or slow property for that attack. I really like this because by this point we're attacking multiple times, so we can hit once with our normal feature and then for the next one switch it to one of the other ones. So like, let's imagine our normal weapon has slow. We can slow them with the first hit, knocking 10 points off of them, and then push them with the second one, knocking them 10 feet back.
Yeah.
So that just took 20 feet away of their ability to get to my back line.
And then if, once we get to 11th level, we have 3 attacks. You can do what you just said. So, like, slow them, push them, and then, hit them with a bow because you can switch weapons mid-attack, and then add, like, sap onto them so they get disadvantage on their next saving throw from the wizard over there.
Okay. Bear with me. You ready?
Yep.
We hit them with push. We walk up 10 feet. We hit them with push. We walk up 10 feet. And then we hit them with slow. Now they physically cannot get to my back line. Because they have been moved 20 feet and they lost 10 feet. Which means they can only get back to the place they were already at.
Yeah, you're bullying them. Pushing
really
them away
are.
from your friends. Or you just... Because with, like, a short bow, even, just... push, just keep firing arrows into them and just knocking them back.
I do want to real quick, though, clarify that right now we're only doing 2 of those pushes.
Yeah, correct.
Here soon we will be doing 3, but right now we're only doing 2. But we also are indomitable again. If you fail a saving throw, you can re-roll it with a bonus equal to your fighter level. So now we're not just getting to re-roll it, we're also getting bonuses added onto that. You must use the new roll, and you can't use this feature until you finish a long rest. I think that's pretty comparable, but now we're getting, at least a +9.
Yeah.
To that roll. Like, why not?
Pretty great. That's
also, we can use it twice.
Yeah. Use it twice, so it gives you the 2 right away.
Yeah, it used to be we had to wait till level 13. Now we get to use it twice right at level 9.
Mm-hmm.
For you tanks, this is super strong. I mean, for anyone, it's super strong, but for the tanks, this is excellent, because that +9 is always going to feel good, plus you're getting a whole, extra roll.
Yeah. Anytime you are out of the fight as a fighter, it feels bad.
Anytime you're out of the fight as a fighter, you're in the wrong place. Get your ass up and get fighting.
Yep, exactly.
Level 10, we're slapping a subclass feature, and then at level 11, we are getting the 3 times instead of once for your extra attack. So at that point, we are able to push people farther than most people can walk. If you have Sentinel, you're really bullying them into a corner and keeping them there.
I would just like to say, if you action surge and you push them 6 times, what is that, 60 feet? 60 feet
yes,
back?
I had not even been thinking about action surge with a bow. 60 feet that people are having to do. I mean, what I would probably do, honestly, is 50 feet into slow. But that's just so ridiculous, the thought of, like, someone moving 60 feet. And then, of course, by level 11, you're hasted, so it's actually more than that. We're moving them 90 feet. Why not?
Yeah, and just having the ability to make changes with your weaponry that you're using. You could play a very balanced, ranged with strength based. Like, you can have like +4s or 5s in your strength and your dexterity. You could just be the jack of all trades, the Swiss Army knife of fighters, and just be able to use anything. And I think at this point you'll have like 4 weapon masteries that you're good with, plus you can switch between these 3 that they give you 4. Oh, just so much added on to the base fighter.
And by this point, you would have been changing your fighting style up to 10 times, so we've gotten to sample everything. By this point, you know what you like. So when we hit level 12 and you finally decide on the one and the only fighting style that you will be taking for the rest of the time, because that's the one you like, we're also getting an ASI or feats on top of it. Why not?
There you go.
13th level, proficiency is going up to 5, and we're getting studied attacks. You study your opponent's attacks and learn from each move you make. If you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. Why do they need this? Why
You'll never miss.
You might once.
Never
You're going to miss the first one. If you do, it'll be the first one, but after that, you're just wailing on them.
And then you just use a weapon that has the Vex property to it, so thus every subsequent attack has advantage on it. And each one you can use it 6 to 7 times with an action surge and haste it.
This just feels so ridiculously strong. I really don't understand why this was added, but I mean, having a fighter on my team, I like it. Having a fighter against me, I'm scared, but I love it. I think it's so strong.
Yeah, I am so curious. At the point of this video, the new monster manual hasn't come out yet. I really want to see how they implement weapon masteries on like for certain monsters.
Yeah.
For like the knights and stuff like that, because it has to be utilized that way.
That's gonna be so rough for DMs having to keep up with like 13 different NPCs' weapon proficiencies and masteries.
All the goblins push.
Oh my god. Can you imagine just getting swarmed and just them systematically like separating the whole group with pushes?
Oh gosh.
14, 15, and 16, we're getting our favorite fighter trio, which is ASI subclass ASI. So this is just your chance to just really buff yourself up any way that you see fit and get a nice little subclass feature. And then we're going to get into 17th level proficiencies going up +6. And Indomitable can now be used 3 times between the rests. Excellent.
So that's a D10 plus 17, yeah? Just throwing that out there.
Actually, and if you use, plus if you have proficiency in that saving throw, we're getting 6, 7, we're getting like even more.
17, 23 plus 23 if you're proficient with it.
Oh so my god.
I don't know, but Bobby, have you ever played a 20th level one shot where the DC for a saving throw was above like 25?
I mean, I've played on non-level 20 where it's above 25, but...
Okay. Just saying, they still have a really good chance to pass it.
When I did that, though, however, I was an Eloquence Bard, so it didn't matter what the AC was. I got what I wanted when I wanted. Yeah. And I was also a Divination Wizard, so...
They just have to roll at least higher than a 3. And they'll pass.
Yeah. 18th level, we're grabbing a subclass feature again. And then 19th, we're getting our Epic Boon. Now, we're going to go over these features probably after we do the normal features, just because it's level 19, and you are very rarely actually going to play that high. As sad as it is, most adventures will end around level 15. Because I would say like level 7 to 15 is known as like the golden spot for D&D. Because after about like 14, 15 in that area, once you're getting to the end, you're practically a god.
Yeah.
Realistically, like at that point, after 15, you are fighting gods. You are fighting cosmic level threats. So most DMs aren't looking to fight with gods.
Typically, yeah. And I think you even get the boons that let you bump that 20 up to like a 24 or something like that.
I think it's 26. I think the strength one is 26 because barbarians by themselves can get 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a 26 or no, it's a 27 because I feel like me and Robin, when we talked about it, we were like, why did they pick 27? That's a weird number. I might be
Why not?
I remember that conversation. It might have been a different number. I don't fucking know. But it was like a really weird, I don't know. Epic boons. We heart you, but I don't know anything about you yet. I don't know you.
Yeah.
And then at 20th level, we are getting the 4 attacks per attack action.
So what you do to cut down that god you're fighting?
Literally, all you have to do is show up hasted, and your DM's just going to ask you how you want to do this before you even make your attack rolls.
You're bringing that god right down to earth.
You really are. You're just... I mean, hopefully you have a magical weapon by level 20. If you don't, choices were made. But you should have something that can pierce a god at this point, and you should be doing a relatively effective job. Are you going to win by yourself? No. But are you going to make that god question his life choices? Probably a little bit.
Centuries of choices debating in his head, or her head, or their head, whatever they want to identify
whoever it is, yeah.
All I know is they're getting pushed 9 times by my attacks. Just 90 feet, push back. fall off that cliff.
So, comparing the two, I feel like Fighter is significantly stronger in 2024 than it was in 2014, which is saying a lot because it was already so strong.
Yeah, I feel like you have gone over a lot of these classes with everyone in the group. From what your research has told you thus far, would you say 2024 is more or less like a net improvement for majority, if not all of the classes, base classes thus far?
So, what I want to say about the base classes, it feels. This is the only analogy I can think of that really sums it up well. Imagine yourself at a table with 12 other players, right? Everyone's playing a different class, right? When we move to 2024, the DM looks at the Warlock and says level up 3 times. He looks at everyone else but the Ranger and says level up once. And then he gives the Ranger a +1 longbow. That's what it felt like. Everyone else is leveling. The Warlock, like, skyrocketed. Warlock got the biggest glow up, and I am so excited for them because now I actually want to play one. But Ranger didn't get fucking anything but a +1 longbow that can let you use Hunter's Mark twice. Yay. That's literally all they got. It's Hooray. Outstanding. I can't wait to talk about it with Royal. I think we're going to be recording that in the next couple days. But you've seen me and Royal talk about Rangers, so I'm sure that's going to be my longest episode. I might even part 1 it, part 2 it. I don't know.
It's just going to be so much hate and so much like missed opportunity for Wizards of the Coast.
I really just don't understand. But what I do understand is they did a great job with Fighter.
Yep, just everything has improved. Like there's, aside from the action surge stuff, everything else is better.
But I mean, my only thing with the action surge thing is they took away a gimmick, not necessarily like a powerhouse thing. It was a gimmick that was barely being used, but when it was being used, it was abused.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
For sure. Like the amount of classes when I started D&D, like I kind of looked up those like all powerful, classes to do. Everyone would go paladin, fighter, and everyone. The fighter was everywhere in 2014. Yeah. It's like just a little splash of fighter, or you start off as a fighter to get Constitution saving throws, and then you go into sorcerer or wizard or whatever the case may be. But fighter was absolutely everywhere. In 2014 because of action surge specifically.
Are you a big cross-classer? Let me ask you that.
So the new 2024, I've only played Killian as 2024 rules. So I haven't had much experience with 2024 multi-classing. I do think it's a little bit different now because
it is, but I just meant for 2014. Did you do a lot of cross-classing?
God, yes.
Excellent.
Every time.
Actually, I exclusively cross-class. So.
Yeah, my fighter though was the only one that I just straight fighter, like just all the way through, and guess what? It was fantastic.
Yeah,
there was nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
I feel like the general consensus for 2014 when it came to subclassing, there were 3 options that you just went with. If you wanted to hit hard, you went with fighter. If you were doing finesse stuff, you would pick up a rogue for sneak attack, and everyone else would take a level of cleric.
Yeah.
Sorcerer, if you were being a little bit more specific, like on certain builds, but mostly it was cleric because level 1 cleric was redonkulous.
Yeah, the only time I was ever out damaged was by a cleric who, it was like like the Forge domain cleric.
Yeah.
And he used that. Like the what's that, like create magical little objects, and it was like coins. He's like throw all these coins at this guy, and it's like 20 D8 or something like that for every nickel that you throw at this guy. And it just rolled for days. And that was the only time I got out damaged was when they used that move.
Clerics are just so busted. I can't wait to sit down with Royal and talk about them. With the new updates, because I've got some hot takes on them. He's got even hotter takes on them. But yeah,
Oh,
so
he's a cleric boy. I know that.
yeah, both of us are cleric like players. I love clerics, but I would still say bard and druid get a higher rank for me than cleric as a player, just because I like the play style of bard and cleric, or bard and druid better than cleric.
Yeah,
Mainly
makes
because I'm
sense.
not up in the fray, so spirit guardian really doesn't do a whole lot for me.
Yeah,
Just doesn't do it.
yeah. I feel like you're more of a life cleric, anyways.
Peace actually.
Okay,
I'm a
pretty
peace
close.
and order cleric are my two favorites.
Okay, I like it.
Um, in fact, Marway almost ended up being a peace cleric, so I'm a little sad that I didn't go that route. But we are. It is what we are. But with that, what are your final thoughts on Fighter as a whole? Not just 2014 or 2024, but as a whole, your thoughts on Fighter. Now that we've gone
um,
through and really dissected everything that they're getting.
yeah. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the fighters are the in-your-face damage dealer for those that love rolling their dice a whole bunch. The fighter is that class for you. You have the option of so much roleplay potential as a fighter as well. And we didn't even touch the subclasses,
Mm-mm.
but just the base fighter with the different avenues that you can go into, the roleplay potential that's there. It is a fabulous subclass or fabulous class altogether. If you are a beginner at Dungeons and Dragons and you just want to play something very simple to do, simple yet effective, there's a phrase that I often use at work, which is keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm. That kiss
And
method.
and that is the fighter. It is simple and it works. So,
Yeah, and if you are newer, don't worry about feats. Just take the ASIs because it will make it so easy for you. It's a great way to learn. I think Fighter is a great way to learn if you are wanting to be more of a martial player. Um, if you're wanting to learn how to cast magic, this isn't for you to learn. But everything else, if you're just trying to learn how the game works, this is a great place to start because there's not a crazy amount of shit being thrown at you. Just don't play Battle Master, and we'll go over why later, because as a new player, it does give you so many options that make this
yeah.
already busted class just so ridiculous.
But also, when we get into subclasses, there are some magic ones
There
too.
are, yes. So overall, I think the consensus is that the fighter is just great. It is amazing. Everyone loves the fighter. Nobody in your party is going to be upset with you if you sit down and you say, "Hey guys, I made a fighter." Even if
Yep.
there's like literally 4 other fighters in the group, y'all are just gonna oonga boonga together, have some fun, and it's gonna be a great time.
And you can have 4 fighters, and each one of them be vastly different from
Every
one
one of
another.
them will be completely different because in combat they can do every combat style.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good. Well, I think that's everything we have for you. If you would like to, normally this is where I'd say if you'd like to see all of these changes in 2024 in practice, come to our channel. But no one in our group is playing a fighter right now. So you can't see that. But you can see us in our natural habitat of playing classes that we absolutely adore with characters that we adore. 8 p.m. Eastern Time at our Twitch, and that will be in our links below. Go ahead and check that out. And we will also have those on Wednesdays, I believe we upload them here on YouTube for you
Yep.
to view if you are not a late person wanting to stay up on Monday nights. Is there anywhere else that we can find you, Dane?
You can find me on my Twitch at APDTrain. I usually stream on Thursday nights with my own campaign, Crimson Skies, which has been going on for quite a while. So if you're bored and want to tune in on a Thursday, that's where you'll find me.
And to clarify, you DM this one, correct?
Yes, I do DM that one.
Excellent. So I'm actually going to have that link in the about description thing below. So go check out Dane's stream. And I think that's all we have for you. So until next time, we hope that all of your intelligence checks are successful, and good luck out there.
Go be a fighter.